The galaxy had lived under fear for centuries. Star after star, world after world, all had fallen to the same enemy. They were called the Karath Dominion, and they believed no force could stop them. Their fleets were endless, their soldiers ruthless, and their technology far beyond anything most species had ever seen. Planets burned. Civilizations vanished. The Karath carried themselves with pride, speaking one line again and again to every world they conquered. Submit or be destroyed. No one can resist the Dominion. And until now, it was true. No one had ever resisted. But then, they came to Earth. The first sign of their arrival was not a battle. It was silence. High above the orbit of Earth, satellites started to fail. Communication lines went dark one by one. At first, humans thought it was a system failure, maybe a solar storm. But soon, the truth appeared. From the black void of space, ships began to arrive. Gigantic war vessels, each one the size of a city, covered in dark armor that swallowed the light of the sun. They moved slowly, like predators circling prey. The Karath Dominion had come. Inside their flagship, Commander Jara watched Earth with cold eyes. To him, this was nothing new. Another weak planet. Another easy victory. He had seen hundreds of worlds fall, and humans looked no different. Primitive weapons. Divided governments. Chaotic minds. This will be quick, he thought. On Earth, panic spread. News channels showed strange shapes in the sky. People stood on rooftops and streets, pointing at the massive shadows above. Governments held emergency meetings. Militaries scrambled to prepare. But deep inside, most leaders believed there was no hope. How could Earth fight against such a force? The Karath wasted no time. A transmission was sent. It echoed across every device, every screen, every radio. People of Earth, you now stand before the Dominion. Submit to our rule, and you will live as servants. Resist, and your world will burn. The message was simple, clear, unstoppable. Or so they thought. Among the people of Earth, fear was natural. Families hid. Soldiers waited for orders. But inside secret bunkers, inside hidden labs, something else was happening. Humanity was not as weak as the Karath believed. For years, whispers of alien life had reached human ears. Strange signals from deep space. Mysterious sightings. And in secret, humanity had prepared. Scientists had studied alien traces. Engineers had built weapons not yet revealed. A network of minds, soldiers, scientists, and leaders, was ready for the day the sky would fall. And now, that day had come. The first council meeting was tense. Leaders of the world argued in fear. Some wanted surrender, others wanted negotiation. But a single voice broke through. A general stood and spoke. If we surrender now, we are nothing. Humanity has survived every storm, every war, every enemy. We will not kneel. We will fight. For a moment, the room was silent. Then, slowly, heads began to nod. The decision was made. Earth would resist. Meanwhile, in the Dominion flagship, Commander Jara was almost bored. He ordered his fleet to begin the first stage, show of force. A small squadron of ships descended through the clouds, darkening the sky over major cities. Their weapons glowed with power, enough to wipe out millions in a single strike. Civilians screamed. Military jets rose to meet them, but compared to alien warships, they were like paper planes against thunder. Jara expected no challenge. He almost smiled at the thought of how quickly Earth would bow. But then, something unexpected happened. The first squadron entered the lower atmosphere. Their sensors scanned for resistance. Suddenly, systems inside the alien ships began to fail. Alarms echoed through their halls. Navigation went blind, weapons shut down, engines flickered. "What is this?" shouted the alien pilots. Commander Jara leaned forward, confused. No enemy fire had touched them. No missiles, no lasers. Yet the squadron was falling from the sky. On Earth, hidden bases came alive. Massive antennas released powerful bursts, waves of energy designed to disable alien technology. It was humanity's first strike, a weapon built in silence, waiting for this very day. People watched in shock as alien ships, once thought unstoppable, dropped like stones into the ocean. The sky that promised destruction now held hope. And for the first time, the Karath Dominion realized Earth was different. Commander Jara stared at the failing screens. His eyes narrowed. "Impossible," he muttered. No species had ever resisted their power before. No species had ever crippled their ships without firing a single shot. "Commander," an officer said nervously, "perhaps these humans are—" Jura cut him off. "They are nothing. Just animals with lucky tricks. Prepare the fleet. We will crush their spirit completely." But deep in his mind, Jura felt something new. A whisper of doubt. On Earth, people cheered for the first time. Soldiers looked at each other with fire in their eyes. For generations, humanity had believed they were alone. Now, faced with the greatest threat in the galaxy, they had shown the first spark of resistance. And this was only the beginning. The Karath Dominion thought no force could stop them. But Earth had just proven them wrong. And humanity was only getting started. The skies above Earth were no longer safe. The alien fleet of the Karath Dominion hung like shadows in orbit, silent and deadly. Billions of people on the surface looked up with fear, wondering how long before fire rained down. And yet, something had changed. For the first time in centuries, a Dominion squadron had been defeated. Their mighty ships had fallen, not by advanced weapons of another empire, but by humans, by a planet the Karath had thought weak and unprepared. Commander Jura was furious. His voice roared inside the alien flagship. "No world has ever dared resist us. No world has crippled our fleet. I will burn this planet until nothing remains." But even in his anger, he knew rushing blindly was dangerous. These humans were different. They had tricks, strange weapons, and courage that made no sense to him. So the Dominion sent a warning. Every screen on Earth flickered. Phones, televisions, giant monitors in the middle of cities, all went black for a second. Then, the face of Commander Jura appeared. His scaled skin glistened, and his cold eyes stared into every home. His voice was sharp, deep, and carried the weight of 1,000 conquests. "People of Earth, you have made a mistake. No species resists the Dominion and survives. We offer you one final chance. Submit, and your lives will be spared. Refuse, and your cities will fall in fire." The message repeated in every language, unstoppable. Fear spread quickly. Some people wept. Others screamed in anger. Crowds filled streets, holding signs that begged for peace, while others shouted to resist. Humanity was divided, just as Jura had predicted. In underground bunkers, leaders of Earth gathered again. Screens showed chaos in every corner of the world. Some presidents and generals demanded surrender. "We cannot risk extinction," they argued. "If we resist, they will destroy us all." But others stood tall. One scientist, an older woman with sharp eyes, spoke firmly. "They will destroy us anyway. The Dominion never keep slaves for long. They erase cultures. They erase history. If we kneel, humanity ends." Her words hung heavy in the air. Then the general from before rose again. His voice was calm, but his eyes carried fire. "We survived wars, disasters, even our own mistakes. If we fall today, we fall fighting. And if we fight, we may just win." The room was silent. No one wanted to admit it, but they all felt the same spark. Surrender meant death in chains. Resistance meant a chance, no matter how small. Far away, in hidden bases around the world, preparations began. Engineers unlocked secret vaults where experimental weapons had been kept for years. Soldiers trained with new strategies, not just using human technology but also scraps taken from the fallen alien ships in the ocean. For decades, governments had denied rumors of alien signals. Now, the truth was out. Those strange signals had been warnings, traces of the Dominion's wars across the galaxy. Some humans had listened. They had prepared. And now, humanity's survival depended on those hidden preparations. Still, fear was everywhere. In homes and streets, parents held their children close, unsure if tomorrow would even come. Yet, deep inside that fear, another feeling grew: anger. The world was frightened, but also united. For the first time in history, all of humanity had a single enemy. On the flagship, Commander Jura studied the humans carefully. Reports came in from his officers: the strange energy waves that had disabled their ships, the determination in human defenses, the refusal to bow even under threat of destruction. He frowned. They should be breaking. They should be begging for mercy. One officer bowed low. "Commander, perhaps these humans are not like the others. Their resistance is—" Jura's hand slammed the console. "No. They are nothing. Their planet will burn, just as all the others did." Yet in his heart, a shadow of doubt grew. He remembered how easily his squadron had fallen. If humans could do that once, could they do it again? Could they even win? He pushed the thought aside. The Dominion was eternal. The Dominion never lost. That was what he told himself. That was what he had to believe. Back on Earth, the world's leaders came to a decision. They would answer the warning. The response was broadcast across the planet, then transmitted back to the Dominion fleet. A human voice, steady and strong, carried across the stars. We are humanity. We will not kneel. If you come for us, you will find more than fear. You will find resistance. Billions of people watched, hearts pounding. For the first time, humanity spoke with one voice. The fear was still there, but so was something greater, defiance. Commander Jarrah heard the message. His jaw tightened, and his claws scraped against the command chair. Very well, he hissed. If they choose death, then death is what they shall have. Prepare the fleet for full assault. The officer saluted, but his eyes betrayed worry. No one had ever heard such words spoken to the Dominion before. No one had dared. The countdown to invasion had begun. On Earth, soldiers moved into position. Satellites reactivated with hidden upgrades. Scientists prepared their most dangerous weapons. Families prayed, cried, and waited. Everyone knew what was coming. The warning had been given. The choice had been made. And in the silence of the night, as the alien fleet gathered above, one thought echoed in every human heart. This is our world. And we will fight for it. The Dominion thought fear would break humanity. Instead, the warning had only lit the fire of resistance. The real war was about to begin. The countdown was over. The warning had been given, and humanity had refused. Now, the Karath Dominion prepared to crush Earth. From orbit, the alien fleet glowed with energy. Dozens of warships gathered, their weapons charging. For centuries, this had always been the same. A show of force, a storm of fire, and then silence. Worlds had always bent or burned. To the Karath, this was routine. But this time, things would be different. Commander Jarrah stood at the center of his flagship. His eyes were fixed on the blue and green planet below. He gave a single command. Begin the strike. At once, several Dominion warships broke formation. They descended into Earth's atmosphere, leaving trails of fire in the sky. Their weapons hummed, ready to erase entire cities in seconds. On the ground, alarms screamed. People rushed into shelters. Soldiers prepared for the worst. Everyone waited for the first firestorm to fall. But Earth was not defenseless. Hidden far below mountains and oceans, humanity's secret defenses came alive. Massive bunkers opened, revealing weapons never before seen by the public. Towers disguised as radio antennas turned, locking on to the alien ships. In one control room, a young officer's hands shook as she looked at her commander. "Sir, they're in range. Should we fire?" The commander nodded. His voice was steady. "Do it. Show them what humanity can do." The officer pressed the button. At that moment, Earth struck back. A pulse of invisible energy ripped through the sky. Not a missile, not a laser, something far more dangerous. It was an electromagnetic wave, designed to shut down alien systems. The first Dominion ship suddenly convulsed. Lights flickered, engines died, and its weapons went dark. The giant vessel shook like a wounded beast, then fell helplessly into the ocean below. The second ship tried to react, firing its plasma cannons. But Earth's defense grid lit up with railguns, hidden on satellites and mountain ranges. Metal projectiles, faster than sound, tore through alien shields. Explosions rocked the sky. For the first time in history, humanity was fighting not each other, but an invader from the stars. And the impossible was happening. The aliens were losing. On the flagship, Commander Jarrah's eyes widened. "What is happening? Report." "Commander," an officer shouted, panic in his voice. "Their weapons, unknown type of energy. Our ships are falling." Jarrah's claws dug into the metal chair. "Impossible. No primitive world could." But his words were cut off by another explosion on the screen. A third Dominion ship was destroyed, its remains burning across the atmosphere. For centuries, the Dominion had believed no force could stop them. But now, Earth had just struck the first real blow. On the ground, cheers erupted as people saw alien ships falling from the sky. Soldiers raised their fists, shouting in triumph. For a moment, Hope spread like wildfire. Humanity could fight. Humanity could win. But the battle was far from over. High above, the Dominion fleet reorganized. Their numbers were still overwhelming. Dozens of ships remained untouched. Their weapons were still far deadlier than anything Earth had. Commander Jarrus' rage burned. "So the humans bite," he growled. "Then we will show them true power. Deploy the heavy ships. Burn their defenses to ash." The order was given. The real war was about to begin. Back on Earth, military leaders studied their screens. The victory was real, but temporary. A scientist whispered, "We only slowed them down. The fleet is too large. We can't stop all of them." The general looked at the screen with steel in his eyes. "Then we find another way. Humanity doesn't stop. Humanity adapts." Already, plans were forming. Engineers rushed to study the wreckage of the fallen ships. Soldiers secured alien technology, dragging pieces of strange machinery into labs. Every second mattered. Every secret stolen from the Dominion would give humanity one more chance. The world was still in danger, but humanity had proven something important: they could hurt the Dominion. And that changed everything. In space, the Dominion flagship loomed. Commander Jarrus paced in fury. "No world has ever resisted us this way. No world has ever caused us loss." An officer hesitated, then spoke carefully. "Commander, perhaps the humans are more dangerous than we believed. Perhaps they—" "Silence!" Jarrus roared. "They are nothing but stubborn animals. And like animals, they will be crushed." But deep inside, the shadow of doubt grew stronger. If humans could bring down Dominion ships with primitive technology, what else were they hiding? On Earth, night fell. Fires burned where battles had taken place, but people did not despair. For the first time, humanity had struck the first blow in a war that seemed impossible. In cities, people held candles, standing together in defiance. Soldiers cleaned their weapons, ready for the next strike. Scientists worked without rest, studying every fragment of alien metal, every wire, every piece of alien tech. The message was clear: humanity would not surrender. Humanity would fight. As the stars glowed above, both sides prepared for the next move. The Dominion still had power beyond imagination. But Earth had something else, something no alien empire had ever faced before. Courage, unity, and the will to survive. The first strike had been made. The war for Earth had truly begun. They thought humanity would kneel. Instead, humanity had stood up. And the Dominion had just learned fear. The sky was no longer silent. The war between Earth and the Karath Dominion had begun. Alien warships circled in orbit, ready to strike again. Fires still burned on the surface from the first battle. But the impossible had happened. Humanity had survived the first assault. For the Dominion, this was unacceptable. For humanity, this was only the beginning. Commander Jarrus' voice echoed through the flagship. His anger shook every officer around him. "The humans dare to resist us. They dare to cripple our ships. They think they can fight the Dominion. Then we will show them the full force of our power." His officers nodded, but behind their eyes was unease. No one had seen the Dominion lose before. No one had ever seen a species strike back so quickly. Still, Jarrus believed this resistance was only luck. He told himself humans were desperate animals, scratching at a predator far beyond them. He would soon learn he was wrong. On Earth, leaders and generals gathered in hidden bunkers. The victory of the first strike had lifted spirits, but everyone knew the truth: the war was far from won. The Dominion fleet was massive. Their weapons could erase cities in seconds. If Earth fought with only tanks, jets, and old satellites, they would lose. But Earth had more than that. For decades, secret projects had been built in silence. Strange signals from deep space had warned humanity long ago that something was coming. Few had believed, but some had prepared. Now those preparations would be revealed. In the mountains of Asia, steel doors opened to reveal vast underground hangars. Inside were machines no civilian had ever seen, massive rail cannons capable of tearing through alien shields. Engineers ran to their stations, activating systems that had been tested only in simulations. Beneath the oceans, submarines surfaced with strange, new weapons fixed to their decks. Torpedoes designed not to sink ships, but to disable alien reactors. High above, satellites that had once looked like normal communication relays came alive. Panels opened, revealing hidden weapons built in secret. Lasers and jammers locked onto alien signals, ready to blind their fleets. Humanity had hidden its strength for years. Now it was time to use it. In a secret lab, scientists studied fragments of alien wreckage. Sparks flew as human tools cut into strange metal. Wires glowed with energy unknown to Earth. One young scientist stared at the fragments in awe. Their technology is incredible. But we can copy it. We can use it. Her mentor, an older man, smiled grimly. Yes. And if we learn fast enough, we might turn their own weapons against them. Reverse engineering had begun. Every piece of alien tech was a puzzle, and humanity was determined to solve it. The next battle came quickly. Dominion warships descended again, this time in greater numbers. Their cannons lit the sky, preparing to burn cities to ash. Civilians ran, soldiers braced themselves. But this time, Earth was ready. From hidden bases, the rail cannons fired. Huge projectiles shot into the sky, faster than the eye could follow. One alien cruiser exploded in a ball of fire before it could even release its first shot. Submarines launched their new torpedoes. In the ocean depths, an alien vessel shuddered as its systems went dark, dragged into the waves by gravity. Satellites fired blinding beams, scrambling alien targeting systems. Dominion ships spun in confusion, their perfect formations breaking apart. On the ground, soldiers cheered. For the first time, humanity was not only surviving, they were winning battles. In space, Commander Jarrah slammed his clawed fist into his chair. Impossible! How can this primitive world resist us? An officer's voice trembled. Commander, they had hidden weapons, advanced ones. These are not just animals. They. Enough! Jarrah roared. No one stands against the Dominion. No one. But deep inside, fear crept into his mind. The humans were not what they seemed. They had knowledge, creativity, and something the Dominion had never faced before, determination to fight to the very end. On Earth, people across the world began to feel hope. Crowds gathered in the streets, waving flags, shouting, and singing. The news showed alien wreckage burning in the sky. Children pointed at the stars, no longer with fear, but with pride. Still, leaders knew the danger was far from over. The Dominion fleet was vast. Humanity had only scratched the surface. The war ahead would be long, and the cost would be terrible. But humanity had revealed its hidden strength. And for the first time, the galaxy's most feared empire had been wounded. Late at night, in the command bunker, the general looked at his officers. His voice was low but firm. The Dominion thinks they are unstoppable. But they have never faced us. We are humanity. We don't give up. We fight until the end. Around him, tired faces nodded. They all understood. This was not just a battle for survival. It was a battle for existence. And humanity would fight with everything it had. In orbit, the Dominion fleet glowed in the darkness. Commander Jarrah stared down at Earth, his jaw tight, his mind racing. He had thought this would be easy. Now, he realized the truth. This war would not end quickly. The humans were stronger than he had imagined. And deep in his heart, for the first time in centuries, a Dominion commander felt something he did not want to admit. Fear. Humanity had revealed its hidden strength. The galaxy would never be the same again. The war for Earth had entered a new stage. Humanity had revealed its hidden strength, and the Karath Dominion had learned that victory would not be so easy. But the Dominion was not finished. They were an empire that had crushed 1,000 worlds. And now, they gathered their full power to erase Earth from existence. High above the planet, the Dominion fleet moved into formation. Dozens of warships aligned, their weapons glowing with deadly light. It was a sight no world had ever survived. Commander Jarrah stood at the heart of the flagship. His cold eyes burned with fury. Enough games, he growled. The humans will be destroyed. Prepare the full assault. No city, no bunker, no life shall remain. His officers bowed, but some exchanged nervous glances. Never before had the Dominion suffered such losses. Never before had they faced enemies who refused to kneel. Still, Jarrah believed one decisive strike would break humanity's will. But humanity had other plans. In secret hangars across Earth, engineers worked without rest. The wreckage of fallen alien ships had been dragged inside, torn apart piece by piece. Wires hummed with strange energy. Alien engines were tested, studied, and rebuilt. A scientist, her face lit by the glow of alien tech, whispered. Their technology is far beyond ours, but not impossible. We can learn it. We can use it. For weeks, teams had struggled with the alien systems. And finally, humanity had achieved the impossible. They had made one of the captured ships fly again. It was damaged. It was unstable. But it was now in human hands. The generals looked at the engineers. Can it fight? One asked. The lead engineer nodded slowly. Yes. If it doesn't fall apart first. It was a gamble. But humanity had no choice. The battle began. The Dominion fleet descended, unleashing a storm of plasma and fire. Entire skies burned as energy blasts struck the Earth. Cities shook. Oceans boiled. Human defenses lit up in reply. Rail cannons fired. Satellites blinded alien targeting systems. Submarines launched their weapons from the depths. But the Dominion kept advancing. Their numbers were overwhelming. One by one, human defenses began to fall. In the command bunker, the general's voice was grim. If this continues, we will lose. We need something more. The answer came in the form of the captured alien ship. It rose from its hidden base, human pilots at the controls, their hands trembling over unfamiliar systems. The ship shook violently, but its engines roared to life. For the first time in history, humanity flew into battle with alien technology. As the ship entered the sky, Dominion sensors detected it. Officers shouted in confusion. "Commander! One of our ships, it's flying against us." Jura turned sharply. "What are you saying? That's impossible." The officer's voice was filled with disbelief. "It is our design, but controlled by humans." Jura's eyes narrowed. "No. They cannot possibly." But on the screen before him, the proof was undeniable. The captured ship dove into the heart of the Dominion formation. Its weapons fired, alien weapons, now used by human hands. Beams of energy sliced through a cruiser, tearing it apart. Another warship fell in flames. The Dominion fleet staggered. For the first time, they faced their own technology turned against them. And humanity roared with triumph. On the ground, people cheered as the alien ship fought for Earth. Soldiers raised their fists. Civilians cried tears of joy. For a moment, the tide of battle shifted. Humanity had found its turning point. But victory was not yet secure. The captured ship shuddered under fire. Warning screamed in the cockpit. The human pilots fought desperately to control the alien systems. "Engines overheating," one shouted. "Shields collapsing," another cried. The general's voice came through the radio. "Hold the line. Even if you fall, you show the world we can fight back." The pilots nodded, their faces pale but determined. They knew they might not return. In space, the Dominion flagship watched in fury. Commander Jara slammed his fist against the console. "How dare they steal our technology? How dare they use it against us?" His eyes blazed with hatred. But inside, a darker thought grew. If humans could master alien technology this quickly, what else were they capable of? Could they one day surpass the Dominion? The idea shook him, but he forced it away. "Destroy that ship," he roared. Dominion warships closed in, surrounding the captured vessel. The battle raged. Explosions lit the sky, turning night into day. Humanity fought with everything it had, and for the first time, the Dominion was forced to fight with all its strength. The captured ship struck one last devastating blow, destroying a Dominion battleship with a blast of stolen energy. But then its engines screamed, failing. The vessel shook violently, fire erupting from its hull. The pilots exchanged a glance. They both knew what had to be done. "For Earth," one whispered. The ship dove directly into the heart of the Dominion formation. A massive explosion tore across the sky, taking several alien ships with it. On Earth, people watched in silence, then erupted in cheers. Humanity had stood against the unstoppable. Humanity had struck a blow no one thought possible. The war was far from over, but the message was clear: the Dominion could be hurt. The Dominion could bleed. And humanity was the one to make it happen. In the flagship, Commander Jara stared at the burning wreckage. His claws shook with rage. But beneath the fury was something far more dangerous: fear. The humans were not just survivors. They were fighters. And they were changing the rules of war. The turning point had come. The galaxy's most feared empire had just been challenged. And humanity would never stop. The war for Earth had reached its breaking point. Skies burned with fire, oceans churned with wreckage, and cities shook under the weight of destruction. Humanity had fought bravely, but the Dominion fleet still loomed above like a shadow that could never be lifted. At the heart of that shadow was the Dominion flagship, a ship larger than mountains, its weapons strong enough to erase continents. It had crushed entire civilizations across the galaxy. And now, its massive cannons aimed down at Earth. Commander Jarrah stood tall inside the command deck, his eyes burning with hatred. "This ends now," he declared. "No more resistance. We will break them with one strike." His officers nodded, but fear hung in the air. They had seen too much already. This enemy, these humans, were not like the others. Still, Jarrah believed in the Dominion's power. He believed nothing could stop them. He was about to be proven wrong. On Earth, the situation was desperate. Defenses had fallen one by one. Rail cannons were destroyed, submarines sunk, satellites silenced. In the command bunker, silence filled the room as screens showed the flagship charging its main weapon. The beam glowed brighter and brighter, a light of death that would wipe away everything. A young officer whispered, "It's over." But the general shook his head. His voice was firm, steady. "No. Not while we still breathe. Humanity does not surrender. We have one chance left." He looked at the scientists and engineers who had worked day and night. They nodded, understanding. The plan was dangerous, impossible even, but it was the only way. In a secret hangar, deep below the Earth, a massive device waited. It was not alien, not human alone, but something in between. The scientists had taken everything they learned from the wreckage, alien engines, alien weapons, alien shields, and fused it with human creativity. The result was a single weapon, a warhead designed to pierce even the Dominion's flagship. But it came with a cost. It had to be delivered manually. Someone would have to fly it straight into the heart of the alien ship. Volunteers stepped forward immediately. Soldiers, pilots, even engineers. All of them ready to sacrifice. But in the end, one pilot was chosen, a young man who had lost his family in the first wave of attacks. His eyes were tired, but filled with unshakable resolve. "I'll do it," he said simply. "For Earth." He climbed into the small craft carrying the warhead. The engines roared to life, powered partly by alien tech. The hangar shook as the ship lifted, then shot into the sky. All of humanity watched. The Dominion flagship detected the small craft immediately. Alarms rang. "Commander," an officer shouted. "A human vessel is approaching, armed with unknown technology." Jarrah sneered. "One ship. Against us. Destroy it." Weapons fired. Beams of plasma and torrents of energy ripped through the void. The human ship dodged desperately, weaving between fire. Pieces of hull tore away, flames erupted, but still it pushed forward. On Earth, people prayed. In bunkers, in ruined cities, in shelters, every human heart beat with that small ship. The pilot's voice came through the radio, calm and steady. "This is for all of us." The flagship's cannons fired again, but the human ship dove lower, faster, engines screaming with stolen alien power. Closer! Closer! The giant walls of the Dominion mothership filled the pilot's view. Inside the command deck, Jarrah finally felt it, the thing he had denied from the beginning. Fear. "Stop him!" he roared. "Stop that ship!" But it was too late. The human craft slammed into the heart of the flagship. For 1 second, silence. Then light. A massive explosion tore across the void, brighter than the sun. The warhead detonated, ripping through shields, armor, and engines. The Dominion flagship, pride of their empire, symbol of their power, was split apart. Pieces of burning metal scattered into space. The unstoppable had been stopped. On Earth, cheers erupted. People screamed in joy, hugged strangers, wept openly. For the first time, humanity had destroyed the unbreakable. The Dominion fleet, once so confident, broke apart in panic. Ships fled into the darkness of space. The mighty empire retreated from a single world that refused to kneel. In the bunker, the general lowered his head. His voice was heavy. He gave everything, but he saved us all. Silence filled the room, then applause, then tears. Humanity had lost one of its own, but gained something far greater, freedom. Far away, in the ruins of the flagship, fragments drifted into space. Commander Jarrah's voice was gone, his power shattered. But the Dominion was not destroyed, only wounded. And somewhere, in the darkness, Their fleets gathered again, whispering promises of revenge. Humanity knew this was not the end. But they also knew something else. Something that echoed across the stars. The Dominion had thought no force could stop them. And yet, humanity had proved them wrong. For the first time in galactic history, the unstoppable had been stopped. And the legend of humanity had just begun.